So today we've got some new trimmer line. This is the Stihl CF3 Pro. CF3 Pro trimmer line. As you can see by the design in the actual picture, and then looking at it, this is kind of like a square trimmer line with edges that point out a little bit. So this might have a little bit more of an advantage than just regular square line, but we'll try it out. And then, as you can see, this is the 3.3mm or the .130. I'm an inch or whatever. So this stuff is a lot thicker than what I use. Normally I use .105 or 3mm. So this is a little thicker. So kind of the hopes with this is that due to the design and the thickness of the line, it'll be a lot easier to cut taller grass and then just other brush with it. So I'll test it out today. Hey guys, so as you heard in the beginning of the video, we're going to be doing the Stihl CF3 Pro trimmer line review. And so I'm going to provide a little bit of commentary. I recorded this video about 2 weeks ago, and unfortunately I'm only now getting to the point where I can edit and then post it or upload it. So I've been using it for more than just this video. This video that you're watching right here is the first time I used the actual trimmer line, and using it now for almost 2 weeks now instead of just for an hour or so. I've kind of got more experience with it, and I kind of have a better better idea of it, of what I think of it. So I'm just gonna kind of go down point by point. The first kind of thing I'd like to talk about is the longevity, how long the line lasts, or I guess this kind of goes hand in hand with durability. But I would say that this line right here, as you're going to see in this video, I'm just going to kind of give like a spoiler, but I only bumped this trimmer head once, as far as I know, and about 20 minutes in of use, at the very end, the line broke. So if that kind of gives you an idea of how, kind of idea of the line longevity, it lasts a long time. And if you look in the video, as I'm kind of cutting the grass, one thing that happens is that I cut a lot of grass, and then only at the very end does it actually like break. I hit branches with it, I hit a bunch of, various, well, I cut a lot of grass with it too, so that's a lot of like wear it took. But one thing I kind of skipped over is that this is a .130 instead of the usual .105. So normally I'm using the .105 square trimmer line or diamond trimmer line, but when I'm comparing it with this one, it's actually very impressive. So the thickness, it definitely plays a role with it, especially with this taller grass. Normally when I'm cutting the grass, I have to bump the head at least every 3 to 4 feet. That's because the line wears down. And that's just with the regular square Magnum trimmer line that Oregon makes, or with the Turf Grow trimmer line that I use. And so I see a huge difference in that. If I only have to top the head, once, that kind of just speaks for itself. Normally when so let's say this area that I cut, right? Normally I would have probably went through at least one entire spool of trimmer line, and that's the .105. And generally that's about 20 feet of trimmer line that I'd go through. But in this case, I've only used, as far as I know, only one or no taps. So I didn't bump the head at all. And that's like what, 10 inches of trimmer line. It's not even a foot that I've been using to cut all this area, and I managed to cut this entire area. So that kind of speaks for itself in terms of longevity and durability. So I highly recommend, I recommend it in terms of the durability and longevity. Now this might be that it's a .130 line instead of a .105 or 2.7, or man, I forgot. Whatever. It's a thicker line. Now that might be, the reason why it lasts so long, but in the case of, my trimmer, the FS131, this actually works really well with it. They complement each other really nicely. And now I guess kind of to move away from the longevity and durability, kind of the quality of the cut. So as you can see in this video, I'm kind of cutting it, I would say, well, when I'm cutting it in this video, I would say I'm kind of cutting it wrong. One thing I learned this past couple of weeks, I think it was even earlier, is that it's better to cut this thick grass with a couple of swings starting from the top and then moving your way on the bottom. This way the grass on top is dispersed, and then you have a better well, it's easier to hit the bottom, like the actual stem of the grass, instead of, you know, chopping it right off from the beginning. Because what ends up happening is that when you cut it from the bottom without starting from the top, you're kind of just leaving the grass on the ground, and after a while it just becomes a very thick straw. And I don't really like the thick straw. But using the top to bottom, you're kind of chopping up the grass into like lengths of like 6 to 8 inches every swing or every pass. And so what ends up happening is that instead of, you know, moving, well, when you think about the tall grass, like when it's long, it has weight to it too, you know. But when the grass is short, you know, 8 inches, it doesn't have that much weight to it. And so in this case, it's a lot easier for the trimmer to cut it and then kind of disperse the grass instead of, you know, cutting it just from the stem or from the root, or however you want to say it. And so one of the things that does kind of like influence it is how you use the actual trimmer, how you actually cut it, or the quality of the cut determines on how you cut the grass. But in the case of this video, as you can see, I'm cutting it from the very bottom, which is now right now it's not something I normally do, but during the time of recording this video, I was cutting it from the very bottom, and it actually was working very well. And so I would kind of give that another bonus. One of the other things in terms of quality of cut, why it cuts the way it does, why it cuts as good as it does, is that in the beginning, as I pointed out when I was showing when I was showing it, is that it has like a kind of like a square, it is a square trimmer line, and then it also has like the little pointed edges. But then one thing I did forget to point out is that the line actually twists. It's not just, you know, a square all throughout. It's a square, but like about every inch to the half, there's a slight twist to it. So this is kind of like literally a mixture of like vortex trimmer line, which is the one with like the round line, the kind of oval shaped line with grooves in it, and then kind of like a square trimmer line. So this thing is kind of just like a hybrid of hybrids. So that little I guess that little twist in it, as well as the kind of sharp edges on the square part, it definitely separates it from the other things they've used. Just regular square trimmer line, just regular square trimmer line, it cuts good, but when I compare it to this, I see that this slices through things a lot easier. But one other thing I'd like to point out, I do mention it in the very end of the video, I think, when I'm kind of just opening up the head, is that as the trimmer line gets used, as it gets worn, one of the things that's happened is that it kind of goes from a square shape to a ovalish shape, and that is a huge advantage with using just this square trimmer line and then any other sort of square trimmer line, is that as it wears down, as it kind of, you know, cuts a lot of grass and it wears down, the shape changes and it goes from square to the oval, or maybe to the kind of like more circular. And that's not something you get when you use like a triangle line or a round line. When you have a round or, you know, square line or a triangle line, when they start wearing down, they snap a lot easier. But with square trimmer line, as it kind of wears down, it takes that circle shape, and that's a huge bonus to it, is that, you know, instead of just snapping right away, it takes the form of another, you know, it takes a different shape, and that's kind of like a big bonus. I don't know if that kind of like makes sense about what I'm trying to say, but in my head, you know, it's like it makes sense what I'm trying to say in my head, but I don't know if I'm getting that out in words. Maybe we'll have to clarify in the comments if anybody's confused. But I guess I'll kind of just like skip to the price. So one thing I noticed is that when I first went to get the line, I kind of thought it was a little expensive. In this case, for 118 feet of line, I paid about like 23 bucks, 24, which is kind of a lot. Not really something I'd like to pay for, but looking at the Oregon Magnum Gator line, the square trimmer line, the .130 of .130 diameter for 120 feet, it's going to cost you about 22 bucks new. So when I kind of saw the price for that, I was like, okay, well, in that case, I can actually justify purchasing this instead of the Oregon Gator line. I did a previous video where I showed the .105 square trimmer line, the Oregon one, and that one wasn't that good. But looking from a price perspective, they're just about the same price, but this CF3 Pro lasts a lot longer. So in regards to like price, in regards to how it cuts, how long it lasts, I would say that this line is definitely worth it. This is something that I'm gonna keep using, and I'm definitely gonna keep using. I'm gonna buy more of it because looking at how it cuts and then how long it lasts, this is definitely a money saver. Now, one thing that could change in the future is that if I use another .130 trimmer line, and I kind of see that the result is the same in terms of how long it lasts and the durability, then maybe I'll change my mind. But I guess when it comes to just using trimmer line and stuff like that, one of the things that is constantly changing is the experience with it. Is that as there's so many trimmer lines out there, like there's so many different designs, there's so many different even sizes, that you have to use a little bit of everything, and then you kind of just like make a huge conclusion at the very end. But at the recording of this video and then at the recording of this commentary, kind of like the conclusion I came to is that this .130 line, the CF3 Pro, the square, twisted, then little jagged edges or pointed edges, is actually probably one of the best things on the market as far as I know. Now, if you could use, a blade, a metal blade, then that's going to beat out this square trimmer line, or it's going to beat out any trimmer line because it's a blade. You don't have to worry about the durability or this or that, the line breaking on you, because it's a blade. And so, if you're only limited to trimmer line, or if it's cheaper to get trimmer line instead of a blade, then I would stick with the trimmer line. So the line finally broke, maybe released. I think it, oh no, it broke. Huh. Let's see. Looking at how it's inside the actual spool, it's a lot better. If you look at it, there is some wear, but because it's so thick, it's not really breaking apart that easy. But same thing, and another one of the videos I talked about how the square line, it usually becomes round after wear, which is a big bonus to it. And you could say the same thing, it's kind of like a squished oval. Over here, oh man. So, yeah, this line broke. I don't know why it broke like that. I need to release it right now. I'm gonna screw this up. So, oh man. I mean, I haven't had to top it too many times, so that's pretty good. If you look at that, oh man, that's a little long. Yeah, there's still like a good amount of line in there. I barely had to top it, so that's pretty good. I'll have to go and get a knife and cut this off. But we're on one tank of gas too, which is pretty awesome. And we've cut, as you can see, a very large area. This is like 5,000 square feet more. I'm not sure. It's 3,000 square feet for sure. And we got
more over here. And this is all in like two or three bumps. So this is pretty good. And we got all this stuff too. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. Actually, looking at the time, I think we recorded a pretty long video. It's probably like 30 minutes long, so I think I'll probably call this a wrap for this video, and then maybe I'll do a second one for this area over here with the Stihl stuff. But yeah, thank you for watching. Comment and let me know what you guys think about this line. This is the .130 or 3.3 millimeters. It's the CF3 Pro. I think that, you know, for the price and for, you know, what it claims to do, it works pretty good. So I haven't tried the .105 or the 3 millimeter one, but I feel like that one might be good too. So, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you watching. Thank you for your time. Have a good night. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. Bye.